In the beginning, it was Pele and Jairzinho, Gerson and Amarildo, the Brazilian boys of 1966, still champions of the world, if only for another month. These were the icons that Scotland faced the first time they played the Seleção, 60 years and 10 games ago. Stevie Chalmers, a Lisbon lion in waiting, opened the scoring after a minute. It ended 1-1. What Steve Clark would give for more of the same on Wednesday in the blistering humidity of Miami. Scotland's game of the century is nigh. There's been pain against Brazil. Too much. The forlorn look on Tom Boyd's face in the 73rd minute in Paris in 1998 as the ball ricochets off his right arm and into the back of his own net. The goal that settled it? 2-1 to the South Americans. The head-enhanced shock of the great Billy Bremner when he fails to score from a few yards out just after the hour mark in Frankfurt in 1974. 0-0. Undefeated Scotland going home on goal difference. The goal difference specter looms large again now, more than half a century later. Scotland know they don't need to win and don't even necessarily need to draw to get themselves into the knockout round for the first time in their history. Getting a point or 3 is the object of the exercise and their total focus. But a battling 1-0 loss, a rough 2-0 defeat, or even a desperate chasing and more goals conceded might still see them advance.
It's the essential weirdness of the situation they're in. Andy Robertson said on Tuesday that he didn't give a damn about permutations, but you can bet he knows all the detail that he needs to know. His obsession, naturally, is on getting the kind of result that powers Scotland into the next round. You don't get to his level if you're looking on defeat as some kind of victory, which of course it could be in the grand scheme of things. Hence, the balmy nature of the world they're living in right now. It's been 15 years since Scotland played Brazil, and 28 years since they played them in a World Cup. If you're very, very lucky, you get to face those yellow jerseys once in your career, so best make the most of it. Scotland cannot be gung-ho, but they have to be more threatening than they have been in their 2 games in America and in the 6 that went before in their last 2 European Championship campaigns. Against Morocco, they put in a committed second-half performance. They applied pressure and had moments. Against a team clearly good enough to counter on them with potentially devastating consequences, Scotland played with as much risk as was sensible, but still didn't get a shot on target. They've only had 2 in 2 games so far. Nobody in the Scotland camp is hiding from that. One by one, coaches and players have spoken about it this week. This need to fire shots, metaphorically and literally. Clark has to find a hybrid game plan that keeps things tight against a dangerous but not imperious Brazil, while at the same time asking questions at the other end, unsettling Brazil, shaking them out of a real...
Facing Brazil at a World Cup? Football doesn't get any sexier than this. In 6 decades, Scotland have faced so many of their immortals. Tostão and Rivellino, Brito and Clodoaldo, Zico and Falcao, Romario and Careca, Roberto Carlos and Cafu, Rivaldo and Ronaldo. They've never beaten them. Not in 4 meetings at World Cups and not in 6 friendlies. That draw in 1966 and another in 1974 are Scotland's lot. A nation that owes its football existence to the son, Charles Miller, the founding father of Brazilian football, of a man from Fairley in North Ayrshire, is targeting a 6th World Cup. Vinicius Jr. is the one they look to now, the heir apparent, the winger most likely to propel them forward. And Brazil are in need of some propelling. It's been 24 years since they last won this tournament, a veritable eternity for them. In the years since, 4 losing quarterfinals and a losing semifinal against Germany, 7-1, the horror of Belo Horizonte. This vintage hasn't shown itself to be genuine contenders, not yet. Their qualification was sloppy. Played 18, won 8, drew 4, lost 6. Of their victories, they took until the 89th minute to beat Chile, the 90th minute to beat Peru, and the 99th minute to beat Colombia. They lost to Uruguay, Colombia, Paraguay, Bolivia, and Argentina twice. This game could see the return of Neymar after an absence of 2.5 years. The prodigal will play a part, it seems. Even a glancing look at the Brazilian media reveals their fascination with him. The microscopic detail about his calf injury, the almost hourly updates on what he's been doing in training, and what role he might be deployed in. A false nine seems to be the consensus. Maybe off the bench if things are going Brazil's way.
Clark has his own selection issues. The news of Aaron Hickey is not good. So who plays right back against the speed and blood-curdling trickery of Vinny Jr.? Nathan Patterson? Anthony Ralston? Or does Clark go rogue and ask Kieran Tierney to do one of the least enviable jobs in football? There's sense in that. Tierney has vast experience. This is a day for nous. Who does Clark play up front? And is there any prospect that whoever it is might have more than crumbs to feed on? Che Adams runs hard, but he's unconvincing. Lyndon Dykes is a battering ram, but Gabriel and Marquinhos have seen his sort before in their storied careers. Lawrence Shankland, Ross Stewart, and George Hurst are the other contenders. There is logic in putting Scott McTominay into the role, a curveball for Brazil, but Stephen Naismith, assistant manager, dismissed it the other day. McTominay is big and strong, incredibly energetic, a proper handful, and a superb finisher. He has not been at his best in the 2 games, not even close to his best, but there's always the threat of him sparking to life. It's got to happen now. It's got to happen for John McGinn, too. It's got to happen for Ben Gannon-Doak, the potential difference maker out wide. He was utilized off the bench against Morocco, Clark hoping he'd have a bigger impact when the game was looser and the space was opening up. Gannon-Doak will start on Wednesday. Scotland's strength is their endeavor, their hard work, their passion, but those things only get you so far. There is some technical ability in there, but not masses of it. What was said before Haiti and Morocco is still relevant now. Scotland's big-name players need to step it up. They need to be better. They need to create and be ruthless. So many things need to happen for Scotland to get a point or 3 from this game. But if they do, then the joyous fortnight-long scenes in Boston, a city that adopted the Tartan Army as their own, will feel like a warm-up act. It's a racing certainty that the Scotland fans, in their reveling and in their bevying, have extra gears in them. The great hope is that Clark and his players, in their pursuit of history, have a whole lot more to show in what could be the game of their lives.